Well, hello. I am hoping that this stream is up this time and we don't have any problems like we did the other day on Tuesday. Can you guys hear me? Are we live? Hey, Shield, let me know if I'm actually live, if this is actually working, right now. I'm trying to just do. Yeah, okay, good. Because Tuesday, that was like a big mess up. I was very happy to have Alana from Legally Dirty Blonde uh, podcast here. And I was very excited to have a legal opinion in regards to Rex Harriman's Long Island serial killer case. And boy, of course, we had tech issues. But tonight, so far, so good. It's been a long day, but we definitely wanted to get this done for Sarah Boone. Last Friday, she had a hearing, and I didn't get to call. I was going to cover it Tuesday if I did a multiple, but I thought it was more important to also cover Rick Sermon, especially since Alana was so up on it and had been interested in it in so long, covering it since way back, even before I heard of it. Hello, Mrs. Cassandra, Liam, Shill. It's nice to see everybody. It's an odd day, so I thank you all for coming on short notice for a Friday night. But let me tell you, we're going to be talking about Sarah Boone. And before you groan too loud, everybody, yeah, no, she did it again. Yes, she did. Hey, Couch. Hello, Mary Adams. It's nice to see you. All right. So, yep, this was the thumbnail. That was Sarah Boone at her hearing. And yes, she's done it again. See all of those envelopes in her hand? Yes. Rumor has it it was a 58-page letter to the judge, which is not up on the court records feed yet. So there's no record of it, although he does tend to go over everything and decide what he's going to do. The new judge, Michael Kranick, got a lot of nice things to say about him. Um, it should be up within the next week or so. He usually likes to give it a good read. This is the longest one that has been presented that I know of. And I can only imagine. I can only imagine. But I hope you're all having a good night. But if it's okay with you, I think we're just going to start the presentation. What do you think? Let's just give it a whirl. The first thing that I have is I'm going to bring up the hearing. I got the audio. None of the news feeds had the hearing from A to Z all the way through. It was all cut up. So I had to go to one of the law channels to get it. So the audio is not that great. I do apologize. I'm going to be pausing it here and there so that, we can talk about it and get a good, idea about what's going on with it. It's going to go up and down. So if you're wearing headphones, I just want to give you a heads up that it could go up and down. In the beginning, it starts pretty even. The judge's voice is going to be the loudest voice based on how the acoustics were in the room and the mics. When it gets to Sarah's portion, she's sitting over in the jury box, and I'm not so sure she had a mic anywhere near here. It's low, it goes up, it goes down. In the actual source of it, there's a lot of background noise at one particular part. And I just want to give you a heads up. If you're wearing headphones, that can get quite aggravating for you. And I just want to, give you the heads up so you can be aware and you can either lower it or monitor or be prepared. I don't want anybody to be uncomfortable. Okay. Welcome, Karen. It's good to see you. Mrs. Cassandra, I'm glad you're here. Uh, I see that. Hey, Fish Nerd. Oh, Fish Nerd. Oh, I'm so glad. As soon as I saw you, guess what I remember? Guess what Oh, there you go. Thank you. Oh, it's so good that you showed up, Fish Nerd. I don't think I would have remembered if I didn't see your name. That just reminded me. And I thought I was doing so good. Like I got my presentation done, everything. Like I'm all ready. All right. So if you guys are ready, let's start with that recording, okay? All right. Oh, wait a minute. That's not the recording. Okay. This is what I want to talk about first. Um, the recent hearing, 58 page. Oh, the other thing I didn't mention is we know that the attorney right now is number 8, and that's Patricia Cashman. She just came on board on February of 2024. But what I wanted to say was that all of the motions that she has filed and requested since the last update, which include like getting things paid for, transcript, getting the expert witness, getting it paid, paying for transcripts, and even has done depositions all since February. This woman, with all her experience, I mean, she was on it. She knew what she was going to be dealing with Sarah Boone. Okay. And she got stuff into the court right away, got everything turned over. Everything was approved as filed. The judge was really happy about that. But let's go on to this hearing that happened last Friday. Hey, Mousy and Mrs. Cassandra. Yes, I did. You actually think you saw the banner already, Mrs. C? I did not put it on. Nope, nope, nope. It's good to see you, Mouse. All right, let's get on with the actual recording of the hearing. You guys are gonna love this. Boy, Boone was typical Boone. Here we go.
Judge, I've obviously not seen the letter. Ms. Boone is correct. She has walked out of the last 2 visits when I've tried to review things with her. Just so the court knows, I've spent probably 20 hours, a little bit more, a little bit less, with Ms. Boone. She has lots of lists, lots of questions. In reviewing the court file, she was distressed previously about having access to her lawyers. I have taken collect phone calls from her that are at my expense. JAC doesn't reimburse you because I think it's important for clients to have access. I have spent.
No one's interrupted you this morning, Ms. Boone.
As I said, I've spent over.
My first pause. Do you hear Sarah just jump right in there? She can't even let the lawyer talk. She doesn't even want the lawyer to talk.
20 hours going through her questions, going through her list. When I tried to update her with regard to the depositions that I took recently, she opted to exit the jail conference. When I tried to review some things with regard to discovery as to things I wanted to make sure she was aware of, she walked out. She has asked me repeatedly for a copy of some medical records. Based on the discovery I got from the previous attorneys, one of the copies of those medical records had her handwritten notes. So she had a copy given to her previously. She'd reviewed them with previous attorneys. I sent her a new copy.
Okay, second pause here. Did you hear that? She's actually harassing the attorney for copies of things she's already had. One of her complaints to the judge prior to this part where Patricia Cashman is actually telling the judge, yes, Sarah has complaints and I've been trying to address them. She's asking for information she already has. And this attorney knows it because the copies that she has of these documents have Sarah's notes all over them from the other attorneys. Okay, so it's a little bit of Sarah's getting caught here in between, and the judge is in a very tight position here because he's got an attorney who knows what's what, who's really trying, and he's got Sarah who just wants to turn the tables on everything here. So let's continue. Well, I was shocked when I heard that.
Some of the things that she thinks are important from a lawyer perspective, perhaps I don't attach the same importance to, and you try to explain that to a client. I know the court's in a difficult position, but at this point, we're at that impasse of if she walks out of every conference that I give with her, I'm not sure what that says about the attorney-client relationship.
Ma'am, you said there was something else that you had other than a 58-page submittal or letter.
Okay. Did you hear that? 58 pages. Okay. There's a question in the chat I want to address. Basically, I was just putting a note in there for you, Mary. This is the state of Florida versus Sarah Boone in the second-degree murder of her live-in boyfriend, Jorge Torres. And it's been going on since 2020 when she was arrested. It is also referred to as the suitcase killer case. He was in a suitcase. But we'll talk more about that. This hearing was a status hearing. Okay. This is our second judge and our eighth attorney for Sarah Boone since 2020. There is going to make a new playlist with Sarah Boone in it that you can get caught up, Mary. I started it today. I just haven't put a lot in there. And Shill, thank you so much for gifting memberships. And congratulations go to Karen, Jujubee, Anna, Sandra Stevens. Congratulations in Rocket Couch on your memberships, your gifted memberships from Autistic Shill. Thank you for the support, Shill. I really appreciate it. So now we're going to hear Judge Michael Kranick, who, my gosh, I can't say enough nice things about this guy right now. I'm quite impressed with his patience level, especially. Well, here we go. This is Sarah's turn to talk. Now, we heard from the attorney. Sarah's walked out on meetings. She's tried to bring her up to date on things that are happening with depositions in discovery. She's walked out of meetings. Okay. She is asking for information she already has, and she only wants to discuss what she wants to discuss, and she doesn't understand why the lawyer is saying that other things are more precedent. And I want to remind you, Patricia Cashman has 43 years of legal experience. Now, I understand this is Sarah Boone's life, and she wants to get involved. But if you're not listening to an experienced lawyer, like, this is not good. I don't know. I'm worried for Sarah. Hey, T. King.
What other information is it that you're seeking to have me take a look at?
It's things that I've been working on in the meantime. It's things that she likes to tell me is not necessary, but I know for a fact it is necessary. She likes to, in quotes, put things to rest all the time and constantly tells me I'm not having this conversation with you. So I'm not going to waste my time, and I, being in jail, have supposedly abundant amounts of. She's not going to waste my time because she's not going to explain something to me. And I have taken it upon myself to explain it to myself because she refuses to do so. I don't understand what it is that she has against me. I have told her from day one that her snotty attitude was inappropriate, and I try very hard to bear with her and her attitude. I don't know what it is that I'm doing wrong to her, but I feel that her attitude has equal prejudice, which is not in my favor, especially considering she's the person representing my life.
Okay. Give me an example of, if you could, of items that you believe are important.
Okay. This judge is so patient. He really does want to address her concerns, especially if there are some. Remember, he came on late in 2023 after Judge Wooten, who's had this case from the beginning, actually transferred to a different section of the court. He had dealt with multiple letters. Michael Kranick, Judge Michael Kranick, was greeted with this case with another letter from Sarah, which we had addressed. This 58-page letter is not available yet, but Sarah goes over most of what she finds upsetting. And her main concern is that her lawyer is not nice enough. Her lawyer has a snotty attitude. Now, I don't know about snotty, because it seems like Patricia Cashman, even under the pressure of being in front of a judge, being accused by your client of not listening and not taking care of business, is defending herself in a very calm and professional manner. Now, if you call that snotty because they want to get down to business and save you some time and actually save your life or get you out of jail, whatever, be your defense attorney. I don't know. But basically, her main concern is that her lawyer is not nice enough to her and doesn't take legal advice from the client. Well, here we go.
Ms. Cashman is not giving attention to or dismissing as you may have.
Yes, Your Honor. She likes to tell me that I don't like her answers. She's not giving me any answers to this. I've written 3 pages worth of questions, but I'm still waiting for her and any other attorney to actually answer for me, such as, why can't I have a bond? Why can't I have a download of my phone? Why can't I speak to my investigator? Why can't I have my medical records? Why can't I fully utilize my constitutional rights? There's 3 pages worth of questions that I.
What constitutional rights specifically?
I'm very leery about having a fair trial at this point. There can be other amendments that I have been researching and working on and trying to incorporate. To me, what I have written to you is obvious, and apparently from the correspondence that I get from the world, South Korea was the last place that I received correspondence. They obviously see the same thing. So I don't know what I'm doing wrong other than wanting to have a very successful outcome. It's just been long and drawn out, and that God obviously believes in me as much as I do him in order to the adventure that I'm on, and I'm doing my best to let everyone know who I really am as opposed to the malicious murderer that everyone thinks that I am. I don't feel that she can do that properly. I still always, the reason why I'm here is hope, is to hope that she will and see the bigger picture other than.
I apologize for the audio. This is from the original feed. Sarah's feed kept cutting out. Like Mrs. Cassandra said, I think even the audio feed was having an issue with what she was talking about. Seriously.
And what's the one avenue that she keeps going down? There's other ways to win, and what is one way? I'm not sure what I'm going to do, but I'm not saying that I'm trying to remove her. I'm just trying to ask you, please, forgive me for having to ask you for this. If you could please let her know, please, to just be nice to me and have a lovely attitude, and things will probably change, and I will not get up and I walk out. Please don't lie to me. Please don't give me half truths. And
What instances where there's been falsities or lies that have been told to you by Ms. Cashman? Can you give me an example?
my biggest one, Your Honor, is for me being here also in 5 years, no one has ever bothered to try to get me a bond.
What's the lie? You said that she has lied to you. What is the lie?
The process of
Listen carefully to this part, people. You're gonna, I hope that you're sitting down. Be careful. Don't be in a dangerous place where you could fall over. This one's gonna get you.
getting a bond. She lied to my brother in regards to telling him that he would need to come down to the courthouse to have multiple photographs taken for documentation, and he would have to bring the security information leads to his house to her, and then it turns into everything else. And then it turns into all these other different stories of why she won't do or why she has said certain things, and all this changes in a few days after I asked her for certain things, not just for the bond, but for other things also.
Okay, well, let's focus on the bond issue because you said that she's lied to you, and what you've told me so far, none of that is inaccurate.
So how is it though, because I don't have any experience prior to this, I don't know the process of getting a bond other than what I've read, and it's just for her to do a bond, a motion for a bond hearing. But I didn't know that anyone, all of the other inmates, even officers, have ever said that they've had to do that process.
Okay, did you catch that? Whoops, it went, okay. Hold on, I gotta bring it up.
I've obviously not seen the letter. Ms. Boone is.
Oh my God. I can't tell.
Judge, I've obviously not seen the letter. Ms. Boone is correct. She has walked out of the last two visits when I've tried to review things with her.
I have to move the actual video up. I'm going to bring it down and move the video up while we talk about this first. Okay. I'll take it like down to get the video to where it needs to be. Listen, she just said that this woman lied to her about the bond hearing process. The judge just called her out and said everything. That's not a lie. Okay. Sarah actually said that she thinks it's a lie. She said, how do I know when everyone I talk to tells me they didn't have that experience? So how do I know it's not a lie? She's actually even challenging the judge about the information her lawyer gave her, which was accurate in regards to the process of the bond hearing. This woman is completely out of control, like completely out of control. Okay. Okay. Let me bring the thing back up. But listen, she is really not getting any points here from anybody. LawTube itself was going crazy over the things that she was saying. As a matter of fact, there were no really clear audio of this actual hearing because of all the clips that I could get from Law and Crime in the true crime networks and stuff like that. They actually were screaming over it when she started talking about the bail hearing stuff. Oh, it gets better. This might be a little bit of a repeat here, but at least I've got it back up where it is. All right.
Well, whereas she has said certain things, it all changed when you take. After I asked her for certain things, not just for the bond, but for other things also.
Okay, well, let's focus on the bond issue because you said that she's lied to you. And what you've told me so far, none of that is inaccurate.
It's not a lie.
So how is it though, because I don't have any experience prior to this, I don't know the process of getting a bond other than what I've read, and it's just for her to do a bond, a motion for a bond hearing. But I didn't know that anyone, all of the other inmates, even officers, have ever said that they've had to do that process in order to have photographs taken and documented and proofs and visits to his house. He's not twisting my bond, which I told her a million and one times, but she still spooked him by asking by him that he's going to have to, and it would threaten security clearance considering he's in this service, military. So she totally deterred me from having my brother's address in order for me to have a motion for a bond. No one else has even bothered to even ask me for one, and I will be honest with you, and of course, I know for a fact that however sky high my limit would be for my bond to receive, I know for a fact unless my fans would set up GoFundMe pages or God's will or however else it is he planned for me to have it paid, if at all. My point is to utilize my rights to have a bond. And with the information I have included in here to you, for the amount of conservation and publicity, there's nowhere that I could go even if I were to be in close flight risk because of the amount of information that everybody already knows about me, what I look like, and what I eat apparently, and so many other things. There's nowhere I could go if I were to even think about cleanup flight risk. It's just the fact that I would like things to have the bond so I can say that I actually achieved something.
Never told me he had to provide pictures or deed to a house. What it said was, the meeting's been in the courtroom.
It jumps here to the attorney, answering because the one part that's cut out that was completely inaudible was then Judge Kranick turned to Patricia Cashman and said, could you please respond to this? And that's where it jumps in.
For all the hearings, and it's likely that they would be here for the bond hearing, that your face could be on the television, and it was a concern for him. And I'm gonna just leave it at that. But Judge, I can't spend all my time defending what I'm doing and at the same time be effectively preparing a case for trial you know, in these situations, I know it puts the court in a very difficult position. As I see it, Ms. Boone has a couple options. Number one, she can ask you to represent herself. She has the right to. You have a Faretta hearing and determine whether she's capable. The court then has to address the issue of whether it's appropriate to appoint standby counsel. Obviously, since she believes not a word that I say after 40 years of doing criminal defense, I'm probably not the right lawyer for that. You know, the other thing is she gets one last lawyer, either works or doesn't. And, you know, and sometimes, unfortunately, the court gets put in a position that you have to have that conversation with a client that you don't, you know, if you want your counsel of choice, then you need to hire your counsel of choice, and everyone can certainly do that. And if you're indigent, you know, the court can only go through this so many times with Ms. Boone coming to the court, and there ending up being irreconcilable differences, such that the counsel that you have appointed can't move forward and provide effective assistance to counsel.
Okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to specially set this matter for the second week of the September 30 trial period, beginning Monday, October 7th.
Nope,
We will
that's
set
the
this
case.
matter for trial case management on the 24th of September, right? On September 24 at 9 a.m. Oh, yeah, that's a good idea. We'll do you at 1:30 in the afternoon.
It's Tuesday, September 20th.
Tuesday, September 24 at 1:30 in the afternoon for our trial case management. Trial date certain on October the 7th. Deputy, if you could please grab the 2 packages of submittals from Ms. Boone. Oh, I thought it was 2 different envelopes, ma'am. Okay. I will review that, and after the review, the court will either issue an order or set this matter for hearing based on what it is that's been presented by Ms. Boone. Mr. Cacciatore, anything else we need to address this morning, sir? Ms. Cashman, anything else we need to address?
Not that I'm aware of at this time, Judge.
Ms. Boone, is there anything else you need to bring to my attention at this time?
I'm grateful for your time. I forgive you for having to utilize it. But I really do hope that you review thoroughly what it is that I'm asking for from my attorney, who's district representative, for the trial supposed to be happening in October, late September. So if you could please, I don't understand how I'm supposed to be able to go into a trial when I don't have what it is to probably defend myself.
Ma'am, I've asked for your submittals. I will be reviewing them. All right, thank you. All right, y'all, thank you very much. Have a great day.
Thanks, Judge.
Yep, that's the face as she left the courtroom. But those faces, when he actually said, well, we're just going to move forward with the status conference and here's the trial date, she was shocked because she has this 58-page letter and it needs to be addressed. And he said, yeah, we'll get to that. But we've got a trial on October 7th. Ba-boom. That's it. We got a trial. We have a trial. Yes, we do. Finally. We found the title. Listen, I don't know about you guys, but that judge has the patience of a saint. Listen, everyone deserves to be heard. I don't think Sarah shouldn't be heard. If she writes him a letter, he's going to address it. And I give him good credit for that. But man, you know, I cannot believe that she just actually thought that she was going to come to court with complaints about this lawyer and get it delayed again. And that is not going to happen. And she even said, I have concerns. My amendments, that my rights that are being violated are the fact that I don't think I can get a fair trial, you know, because of all the shenanigans she's doing is what it is. I mean, she is basically one or two of those attorneys had conflicts of interest. Every other attorney, it's been Sarah who said she couldn't work with them, or the attorney saying, at this point, she calls me so many names in our relationship is broken. I can't work with her. All right. Attorney number 6, Bankowitz, actually suggested to the judge, Judge Wooten, that Sarah should represent herself because no one's going to be good enough. I don't know why Sarah thinks she knows better than an attorney with 43 years of an experience. I mean, she must be very paranoid or untrusting or whatever to say that she would not take the advice of her attorney. And after 4 years, to still be talking about a bond is beyond. Oh, but can we talk about the fans? Yes, Sarah literally told the judge that she knows she doesn't have the resources to be bailed out. But she knows that her fans would probably do GoFundMes to get her out. And you don't have to worry about her running away because everybody knows her face because of the cameras. And we even know what she eats. Okay, Sarah's becoming obsessed with the media. And there was, we talked about this before. In the beginning, we thought, perhaps she wasn't, that she was actually offended. But now she's playing to the media. And she's trying to use the media in her way, like this is her 15 minutes or something. I don't know. I don't see how using the media this way, or her so-called fans, I don't know that she has any fans. Most people think she's really out of her mind. And those that did defend her in her right, and we do. Most of us are out here saying we want Sarah to get a fair trial, but we want a trial. It's 4 years. She shouldn't have to sit in jail for 4 years and not have a trial. All right. In the beginning, we were all like, wow, how many attorneys? Like, this is so unfair to her. But then, the letters come out and we start to read all of these accusations that she makes. And this judge did a very good job of pointing out that her complaints have been addressed, that her complaints are manufactured by her as a reason to delay. There was nothing about the medical reports that Sarah didn't already have. And her attorney, Patricia Cashman, knows that. And she presented it to the judge. She already had it. She was not going to take it on the chin, all of this stuff that Sarah said. And did you hear her say, I don't necessarily want you to remove her as my attorney, but I would like you to tell my attorney to be nicer to me. Yes, that came out of Sarah's mouth. Could you please tell my attorney to be nicer to me? Be nice to me. Yes. Okay. He has to read 58 pages, the judge. We're not going to see that letter for maybe a week or two from now. Last time he got a letter, it took him like 7 or 8 days. Once he processed the letter and he knew what he was going to do about it, he had the court clerk put it on the record for everybody to see. Because she provided it during court and it's right to the judge, it will become evidence it will become part of the court record. Whether or not he'll make it public or not, that is the judge's discretion, but I hope he does. But that's going to be a whole live stream. But if you think that's all we've got going on today, you'd be sadly mistaken. But I hope you'll agree with me that George Kranick, coming in late to this with full knowledge of everything that Judge Wooten went through. Can you just imagine what that conversation was, judge to judge? I wonder if they talked. Can you imagine? After all those letters? Sarah needs her attorney to administer pedicures and massages. Oh my God. I guess that's what she thinks attorneys do. I don't know. But she's definitely not taking legal advice. And this woman, when I tell you she got everything through, she started in February and already she's got all the costs paid for, all the transcripts. She started on depositions. She's ready. And she actually said to the judge that, October 7th, great. She didn't say, I need more time. She didn't say, hey, I just came on in February, and she did in May. Okay, we were supposed to have a trial in May. And when she came in February, after she looked at everything and saw what still needed to be processed, she said she needed a few more weeks. Okay, and she was ready to schedule, at that hearing. She asked for some more time, not to have the trial. But because of court dates, they didn't go through July or August. They had this status hearing, and true to what the judge said, they were going to set a trial date. And now we have one for October 7th. Hello, Big Zebra. That's kind of funny. I'm going to pull that comment up, actually, Big Zebra. Big Zebra says, I hear that if found innocent, Sarah Boone will sign a sponsorship deal with Samsonite. Yeah, probably. Maybe that's what she's bucking for. I don't know. Hey, Teresa, it's good to see you. But anyway, that's very funny, Big Zebra. But definitely, this one is one for the books. Definitely, this is going to be, people are going to be writing about this case for quite some time. It does give us all pause that some rights may be violated when it takes so long. How people get through the process when you don't have any money, it does bring a lot of issues up. Okay, but let's talk about some of them. All right, let's go over bond hearings in Florida. Let's clear up a few things that Sarah doesn't really have right. Like, first of all, she was talking to guards and inmates about the bond hearing process in Florida, and whatever information they gave her, like the stuff they didn't know about, she's trying to use against Patricia Cashman, the attorney with 43 years experience, and the judge. Okay, they don't know because the people she spoke to didn't know. So how is she supposed to know? But she feels full right to call the woman a liar and told the judge the woman lied to her. And I am so glad the judge asked her specifically what she was talking about instead of letting her get away with all this hyperbole that she's been getting away with and just throwing out keywords and phrases and nobody actually drilling down and saying, what are you talking about, Sarah? Prove it. What are you talking about? Give me an instance of when they did whatever you're accusing them of. Okay. So a bond hearing in Florida, it's a legal proceeding. We all know that. And the judge or a magistrate determines if a defendant should be released or held. Now that happened already. Like, she didn't have a hearing, but they didn't issue bond. Okay. When she was charged with second-degree murder, which is a criminal felony. Okay. It's not that unlikely that you don't get bond. It is very likely that the prosecution made no bond recommendation. And Sarah's, at the time, the defense did not offer one or a request a motion for a bond hearing. Neither did any of the 7 attorneys prior, which means Sarah just came up with this idea for this attorney because we know she would have been squawking about it from day one. Does anybody else recall hearing about this? I do not recall hearing about Sarah complaining about not having a bail bond hearing, a bond hearing so far in this case. I don't recall it in any of the letters, but I'm going to go back and look. But it kind of took me by surprise. Okay. It's like a small trial. We saw that in Courtney Clenny's case where they had like evidence and everything. That's where we learned about the coroner's evidence against Courtney Clenny and why she couldn't have bail during her bail hearing. Okay. It's the judge's decision. It's done without a jury and it's final. Okay. A judge considers many factors. And here's where we get to the point where Sarah was complaining about her attorney talking to her brother. And I'd like to point out several of the incidences as to why it was necessary for the attorney to make sure the brother understood the process. First of all, like, we all know that it's the nature of the crime and the amount of evidence, okay, that actually the judge is going to use in their determination, but also community ties, how long the defendant has lived in the area, their employment history. Sarah's unemployed. Whether they have family there. She does have a brother. Criminal history, the defendant's past criminal record, missed court dates, and any attempts to avoid prosecution. I don't know if the letter writing would have anything to do with avoiding and delays, but it's definitely not avoiding prosecution because, like, she's already in jail. And there's not really much she can do about that. As far as criminal history, she's got some assault and battery charge. There's for domestic violence, and they were dropped. No record. But personal character. Someone has to stand up for her. The defendant's likelihood of fleeing to be released. Okay. her personal character. She needs her brother to give her a place to stay, say he's going to help be responsible for her and take care of her. The financial resources, the defendant's ability to pay the bond amount. She's indigent. Can you explain to me why they would put bond on an indigent person? I mean, do you think the judge is worried about Sarah Boone's fans? I don't. I don't think so. I don't think so at all. I don't think he cares about Sarah Boone's fans. I think he thinks it's an annoyance. Okay. He can also, during that, if they do get bond, they can impose all kinds of special conditions, curfews, monitoring, drug and alcohol testing. And also, the victim or the victim's family has the opportunity to address the judge. Okay. Does Sarah really want Jorge Torres's family to address her in court during her bail bond hearing? Okay. They can be quick proceedings, and it's usually done in the beginning. Okay. If the judge can already have an idea of an appropriate bond amount, sometimes the prosecution recommends bond or not bond, or the defense argues with it by saying all of these great things about the defendant. Their upstanding character, they do volunteer work, they've got family in the area, they're not going to run, they want to clear their name, they don't have any prior offenses. Okay. But it's important for the defendant's attorney to highlight what makes their client different from others in similar situations. Based on Sarah's actual behavior, do you think that her attorney could actually do an honest bond hearing for her? Sarah's complaint is that when the brother heard that he was going to have to vouch for her, see if she had a place to live, try to, come to the bond hearing. His face might be known because of the cameras in the courtroom. It's an open proceeding. His name would be known. His situation would be known. She's entitled to tell him all this, but Sarah's pissed off because the brother decided he didn't want to do any of that. And so Sarah is blaming, in my personal opinion, the attorney because her brother won't stand up for her now, because it's going to be too much. She's already been there for 4 years. Okay. And we want the trial, and we want to get it over. We want to get it over. We want a trial, a fair trial, Listen, there was more in that hearing that it might have went so fast, and the audio was kind of bad that you might have missed it. But damn, this stuff about the bond hearing really kind of annoyed me. Let me go through the comments to see if anybody else had heard about the bond hearing. Her fans are a writing tablet in a pen. You could be correct there, Mary, because I don't know about fans. I do know she's making a lot of YouTubers happy with her ridiculousness, because it gives us a lot to talk about with this. I mean, I really do want to see justice served here. I really feel for Jorge Torres's family having to witness all of us YouTubers talking and making light of this situation, when actually justice needs to be served for his death. The crime itself is horrific, whether negligent or not. There's two sides of that coin on whether or not she meant to do it. But when we get to the coroner's autopsy and things like that, we're going to find more information. I just want to remind everybody that some information has been released in regards to the condition of Jorge's body when he was discovered. There were scratches and contusions all over his shoulders and his back. Okay. He had a blunt contusion to his head. Okay. He died of asphyxiation due to positional asphyxiation. He actually ran out of air based on the position he was in that suitcase. And let's not forget, both videos that were found on her phone, that suitcase was turned over. She was sober enough to turn it over so that he couldn't use the zipper to get out. And did that suitcase actually go down the stairs to cause all those contusions? Did the game of hide and seek, and I say if there was a game of hide and seek, that is her testimony, that is her defense, that he willingly got into that suitcase, and I believe he did, because he's a strong man. I don't think she could have forced him in there. I think he got in there for whatever reason. But here you go. How did the suitcase end up at the bottom of the stairs? I doubt that all of those injuries happened before he got into the suitcase. But this is what they're going to have to prove at trial. This is the evidence that's going to come forward. Patricia Cashman says that they've gone through discovery. Everything's there. Oh, she wanted to talk to Sarah about it. Sarah walked out of the meeting. Oh, what can you do? You know? I feel Sarah will run if she has the chance. She may look for a sugar daddy and get herself out of the country. Who knows? But that would have to be like, that person would have to be like insane, you know? The only balm she needs is a tight bond on her lips. You know what, Liam? I'm starting to think that, because here it is. She's not doing herself any favors. The more she does this, the worse it is for her. I don't see what she's gaining from this. This self-importance she thinks she has. I mean, I realize it's her life. I can't even imagine what it's like to sit in jail and feel like I have to fight to get out of there. I have to fight for the truth to be known because, like, I'm innocent. Okay. Sarah, changed her stories a couple of times. Okay. Sarah was manipulative during her interrogations. Sarah caused all of this spotlight on her herself. Even at the crime scene, when investigators first got there, Sarah was trying to control the situation at every turn. She didn't call 911 right away. She took him out of the suitcase. Okay. And then she called her ex-husband from down the road. She didn't call 911. She called her ex-husband to plead with him what to do. Like, help me out here. What am I, and this man has his own issues with her. Okay. Which we talked about in other streams that I don't want to go into right now. That's all their personal business, but still, like, Sarah is her own worst enemy here. And when you don't know the right thing to do for yourself, I mean, at least listen to an attorney that you hope is in the profession because they believe in law and order and due process, and that you deserve a fair trial, and that they will do everything they can to make sure that the evidence presented against you is solid and there's nothing wrong with anything, and maybe even get you a plea deal. Okay. But apparently Sarah works against all of this. Okay. The last attorney, William Hobson, who we thought was very fair, after Bankowitz, you think she would be grateful. This man listened to her, and within a short period of time, he said, Sarah wants to go in a totally different direction with her case that I cannot, as an attorney, do. She has left me in a position where I have to go with what I morally think is correct and remove myself from the case. Okay. He didn't say what. He just said that Sarah refused, that she was insisting on taking angles in the case that did not seem, viable to him. So it seems like Sarah thinks she's her best attorney. Okay. Yes, this case is in Florida, Teresa. They lived in Winter Park, Florida. Yes, and if you're in the Discord, if you go to the Boone case room and go up to the pin, that's where the court documents can be found by putting her name in. If you want to read up. All right, there's more. I know, there's more. Can you believe it? There's more. All right. So at the hearing, we heard that there's going to be a status conference on September 24th. Okay. The trial date is set for October 7th. But damn, did you hear? They're allowing only 5 days for the trial. And the defense didn't object and say they needed more time. They have a prosecution case that they're going to bang, bang, bang out in 5 days. You heard prosecution. That was Mr. Cacciatore. He actually said 5 days was enough. And Cashman agreed. Like, that even includes her time. Okay, 1 or 2 days for jury and 5 days for trial. Period. Can you believe it? They are definitely going to go back. Okay. Also, here's the thing. Do you remember Chelsea Copsall, or rather, she went by Connolly at the time, way back in 2020, when Sarah came in for her investigation? The lead investigator that went to the apartment, to the crime scene. She was pregnant at the time. She was the pregnant investigator, the detective. Okay. She was put on the Brady list as a witness because there was an internal investigation in regards to some fabricated or documentation of some type, not involving Sarah's case, but another case. So it is the prosecution's uh, responsibility to report to the defense and to the judge and to everybody involved with the case that any witness might be in law, especially, Brady list is for law enforcement officers that may have some issue with their testimony that could be challenged based on other things that are going on, like other things they've been accused of, other accusations, whether they've been impeached in other trials, whether there's anything else going on. So there was an investigation going into these documents that involved Detective Connolly at the time. She's been exonerated from that. So she's coming off the Brady list, which means her testimony into what Sarah told her at the scene and during the investigations, and then what they found on her phone, and then how Sarah had to like backtrack into everything after what they found on the phone. Okay. That is one of their primary witnesses right there, who has now got a clean avenue to the witness stand. Okay. No longer on the Brady list. Okay. I haven't seen the rest of the witness list yet. But I imagine it's not very long. Five days, The defense has said that they want to bring a psychologist. They want to bring someone who talks about women who have been abused and the mindset and all of that, because remember, battered woman defense is what Sarah wants to bring forward. And it is true. Jorge Torres had 4 episodes where he was actually charged or brought in, charging that he had abused Sarah. Sarah called the cops. The cops came, took him away. Sarah went with the cops, right behind the cops, and got him out within 24 hours, all 4 times. There is also another 5th episode to where Sarah was charged with Jorge. Okay, they were both charged. The officer said Sarah seemed to be the aggressor in that incident, but those charges were dropped, as well as all 4 against Jorge prior. But to say that they had a tumultuous relationship would be true. There was some abuse going on here, so it's a valid defense, and they're going to be bringing expert testimony in regards to it. As far as anything else, there's only the investigator that Sarah insists on being hired, and she wants to talk to personally. Now, it's normally the lawyer gets the reports from the investigator, okay, but Sarah is complaining because the investigator won't come to the jail. She can't talk to the investigator herself, and she thinks that that's a violation against her rights. The information is what is necessary, and the information has been provided. But for some reason, that's not good enough for Sarah. She thinks all of these things have conspired against her, and she's acting like she's got some kind of persecution process here. She's very controlling about the situation, but it's really not going in her way. Now, we heard in the hearing Sarah's complaints, and we heard the judge hoping that they could work it out. He let Sarah know that they weren't lies that her attorney was saying, and he let them know that they wanted to go forward with trial, and he would be addressing Sarah's concerns in another hearing if necessary after he read the letter. But we didn't hear Patricia Cashman ask to withdraw until the other night, when Patricia Cashman filed a motion to withdraw from the case. Yup. Attorney number 8. Attorney number 8 wants out. Okay, attorney number 8 wants to be gone. She filed the motion, and I'm going to bring that one up next. Sarah cannot get out of her own way. I'm telling you. Yep. Her type of abuse starts with manipulation before going physical. I could see that, Liam, just on the actions that she has now. And on the officer's report, in the one where they said that Sarah was the aggressor, Jorge had only kicked her to get away from her. She was literally strangling and scratching at his neck. He had marks all over his neck, and she was going after him up the stairs, and he had pushed her with his no, he had kicked her, actually. I think it was in the top of her leg or in her abdomen, to push her away from him as he scrambled back up the stairs. And the injuries that they both had kind of went with the story that Jorge did and not with what Sarah said. Okay. But to hear Sarah's story, they just like drink a bottle of wine, they do arts and crafts and puzzles together, and it's all sweet and hunky dory. Yep. Yep. Yeah. The fact that he was found in a suitcase is a sure sign of abuse, and the fact that he climbed in it in the first place is a good indicator of manipulation. Juju, spot on. I can't really argue with that one. I cannot. All right. So I'm going to just show you one thing in here that Patricia Cashman filed in her doc. Let's just see. Do I have the right one? Yeah. All right. Let me just add this to the stage and make it a little bit bigger for you guys. Okay, this was just filed on the 11th at night. And basically, it is Patricia Cashman respectfully asking for permission to withdraw. She says that it's a serious offense. The trial is set for October 7th. And she says clearly it will allow new counsel time to prepare for the said trial. But Florida rule regulating the Florida bar conflict of interest current client states, representing adverse interest, except as provided in subdivision, a lawyer must not represent a client if there is substantial risk that the representation of one or more clients will be materially limited by the lawyer's responsibilities to another client, a former client, or a third person, or by a personal interest of the lawyer. Now, I don't think that she's got a conflict in regards to other clients, because that would have all been cleared in February when she was assigned. Lawyers do that routinely. I think it is something that Sarah is asking this lawyer to do. Shades of Attorney Hobson here said the same kind of thing. Sarah wants me to go here. I can't ethically go here. I want out. Okay. They didn't use those words, but they almost had like very similar statutes when they asked to be dismissed. Okay. The other is, of course, irreconcilable differences, including but not limited to ethical considerations, have arisen such that counsel can no longer provide representation. Those last few sentences there ring the bells of Hobson and a few other attorneys. I don't know what kind of defense Sarah wants to put up, but it does appear that her attorneys do not agree. They do not agree. But I don't know how you guys feel about it, but this case, I don't know if they're gonna. They do allow cameras in Florida, and I imagine that this is going to be streamed. But based on what's happening with several other cases lately, I don't even know if that's going to be the standard anymore. I've kind of like, I'm so over it, but I'm going to run a poll to see if you guys want to cover this in October. That's if we actually get to a trial in October. At this point, if another attorney comes on, I don't know if the prosecution, I don't know why they're not all just working on a deal with her. Probably because she won't talk to them about it. The evidence, if they can do a trial in 5 days, I would say they've got pretty good case. Okay. I'm pretty sure we're going to have a live trial for that Rocket Couch. I think you're right. They're open on the documents. Everything is open and above board. The hearings have been available. Although people are getting tired of her shenanigans, because I can tell you that like no real media coverage was done. They all just had snippets of the hearing. Nobody did like the whole hearing like we usually can get, like the whole audio clean cut all the way through, or the whole thing. It was all cut up in weird ways. They had trouble with the audio and everything in the courtroom itself, but also, on the feeds where you could tell that people weren't covering it, from start to finish. And they were like, popping in and stuff. Like some of the YouTube channels put it up. But I couldn't get it from a news feed like I normally do, I could tell you, and I feel that she's, I feel bad that she's been there for 4 years without a trial. But I also think she's going to have to accept some responsibility that a lot of this is her fault. If she's not going to cooperate with representation, and she can't afford to get a lawyer of her own, that she can, if she's paying them, push them around a little bit more, I guess. I don't even know if she'd get a good defense that way. I mean, she could end up with somebody like John Pryor if she owned a house, and then they're going to do whatever you tell them to do. But is that going to actually be good representation? I mean, you're not the lawyer. Sarah's going to have to accept the fact that she has no legal expertise, and she needs legal representation and serious legal help here. I mean, second-degree murder is nothing to just, wink and walk about. At this rate, she'll run out of lawyers to choose from and have to choose a Darrell Brooks type. Oh my gosh, I hope not. The media should just rerun the last segment they aired and put a new date in the corner. Exactly. Another letter, another lawyer leaving. I mean, it's the same thing over and over and over again. We got a new judge, a new lawyer, a new letter. Okay. But the positive part about this is we do have a trial date, but we've had other trial dates. Yeah, we did. And who knows, this new lawyer, whoever it may be, that's if the judge allows Patricia Cashman to leave. But since she did say it was a conflict of her legal representation, I don't see how he cannot let her leave. She's saying she's got ethical considerations here, yeah. Even her fans are giving up. I agree, Juju. Even her fans are getting a little tired of Sarah Boone's antics. Now, I want her to get a fair trial. I do. It's very frustrating to me that this is taking so long, as it is for her, I'm sure. Much more for her. But she's going to have to admit she's part of the delay. She's causing a lot of these delays. And did you see that face when they said that they were setting a trial date anyway? I thought she was like, if she could have screamed, she would have screamed. Can we move the trial to someplace nicer for her, like Dubai? Really, Fishner? Yeah. The only person impeding her fair trial is her. At this point, she is a big cause of it. Absolutely. I mean, the system isn't perfect. I mean, it's really hard when, defense attorneys, the state paying for them, and they're really overworked. There's not a lot of time. But in a couple of months, this woman put 20 plus hours. She took collect calls on her own dime to talk with Sarah Boone, and she's just not even appreciative of it. She's like, and that's not something that's required of these attorneys. The visits you get are the ones allowed at jail or via the email, information. Then when they get to use their laptops and all, they get special time to check up on their case and deal with filings from their attorneys. Those are usually when you get your updates. Patricia Cashman went above and beyond as far as I'm concerned, and I really wanted to emphasize that. 43 years of experience, and she knew this was going to be a handful when she took it on, when she agreed. Okay, the judge assigned it to her and she kept it. All right. And she knew the history. Of course she did. And she took it on, and she was no bones about it, all straight business. Her filings say so. From the day she took over, she went through everything. You could see she started filing all the missing stuff right away. Everything was brought up to speed. Okay. She got this case ready for trial. She did what the judge asked, a good review. Let's have a real status conference. And she was ready. It's Sarah that is throwing the monkey wrench into everything. And Sarah looked a little disappointed. Yeah. Are there any videos of what, Teresa? I have I'm creating a playlist now of my prior coverage, and what I will do is link those interviews that Juju is speaking about in the chat. There are hour-long interviews and interrogations. There's full footage of everything that happened at the crime scene when she called 911 as they were showing up. We will link all of that for you guys, okay? It's all in the Discord in the Boone room, but it's like all way back because this has been going on for such a long time. But if I make a playlist of it all before she, like, of those in, the interview, the you'll have to watch my videos for the for the suitcase pictures. Oh, they're in there. I don't know if there's actually live feed anymore of the two separate ones. I think they got pulled, but I'm not sure. I had heard something that they were going to pull them because they're using them for evidence and they're getting circulated like really all over the place. But I'll do that, Teresa, and then I will put it on this video, guys, for Mary, for Teresa, for those of you asking about those interviews in the chat. I will put the link to the playlist in this description when I'm done, probably by Tuesday. My next, I'll do it as soon as I can, but I got a couple of things I got to get done this weekend. My list is getting long, but I'll do the best I can to get them there. Okay. There is a list called Sarah Boone on my channel now. I created it when I created this video, knowing that this case is getting so crazy and there's been so many videos on it that people will be new coming into it and want to know more about it. So I'll try to get that up to date as soon as possible for you all. You're very welcome, Mary. I'll think if I can get them in one place for you guys, it will, yeah, like getting crazy. It's been crazy from the start. I mean, the whole case was a bit weird. I mean, Juju and I were going like crazy from the start of it. Like, why isn't she just up on manslaughter? If this was like, he climbed in there and then just, she fell asleep and they were drunk. Like, this is just an unfortunate accident. But then more and more kept coming out as to why the prosecutors were actually looking at her. That she actually failed to assist him. And if you watch the videos of her sitting on the couch taunting him while he's in the suitcase, saying, this is how I feel when you do this, and well, that's what you get, stuff like that. I don't remember the exact words, but it was taunting. He was struggling. He was calling for her to let him out. He was telling her repeatedly he could not breathe, and then she just went upstairs and went to sleep. We did think she was overcharged, and I did too. I did. But now I'm getting some feedback in regards to the autopsy reports and what they found, and I can understand why they feel more happened than just this little story she's telling them about a great day doing puzzles and arts and crafts and drinking some wine. Yeah, Teresa, it was 2020 when she was arrested. I believe April of 2020. I think she has a possible defense too, but will she have a defense attorney to do it, Juju, is the problem. She won't allow the defense attorneys to give her best defense. Yeah, she just keeps carrying on. And what's important to her, she wants to get out so she can manipulate the media. She wants a deal. She wants the money. She wants to sell her story. She needs to be able to conduct those interviews. She needs to call people because nobody, let's be honest, nobody's calling her, are they? Okay? No one's calling her. The reputation she has, who would want to deal with her? Really? Yup, her boyfriend was telling her he couldn't breathe yup, he was. She is her own worst enemy. I kind of I think everybody could see that pretty clearly, especially on the last hearing, you know? Yeah, why call her? She wrote a letter. They have all the info they need. Exactly. They could just take all that public information and make any documentary they want. And there's nothing she can do about it, and they don't have to pay her for it. It's all public information. It's part of the trial. She's not doing herself any favors. The squirrels and the cheese are showing her internet. I bet she sounds like a treat. Yeah, can you imagine, Rocket? Like your worst clients, those of you that work in customer service or deal with the public, your worst clients. I mean, she gives the title Karen like a whole nother level. Like, we need a new name. We can't even call her a Karen. There has to be something else. She may be coining the name Boone or Sarah. Like, don't be a Sarah, If I say that to any of you, you know what I mean, right? Don't be a Sarah. Don't do it. You don't think you know better than the expert. Like, you're just going to get your butt in hot water, And this is serious. This is second-degree murder. I mean, it's nothing really she should be just poo-pooing away. And I'm not saying that she is, because she's obviously very invested. I mean, 58 pages. I mean, what could she possibly be going on with for 58 pages? And how does she feel she has the right to call anyone else a liar about information she knows nothing about? She made a clown out of herself about the bail bond, okay? Because she's actually saying she talked to other prisoners and guards about the process. So how is she supposed to know that Patricia Cashman, the attorney with 43 years of experience, is telling the truth? Because she spoke to some other inmates about it and they didn't know anything about it. Sarah's nitpicking and she's looking for reasons to delay this case. But at the same time, she wants to act like she's being wronged. This is manipulative, narcissistic trait with put some victimhood on there. It's everybody else's fault but hers. Yeah, she takes no responsibility. The woman needs a mirror. She needs a really good mirror. I mean, I'm just hoping that we can actually have a trial in October. And you know what? And I want to cover it, and I'll tell you guys why. The legal twists here that have been going on. First of all, it's just unprecedented, this amount of attorneys for this, the letters to the judge. And the fact that I do believe, against attorney's advice, Sarah will take the stand in her own defense. What do you think, people? Actually, I'm going to run a poll on that one. Okay, if it gets to trial, right? If it gets to trial. Will she take the trial? If it gets to trial, will Sarah take the stand? It's a simple yes or no, people. But I think she's crazy enough to think that she's the only one that can get herself out of this. I do. I seriously think she thinks she knows better than the attorney. I think that she thinks that she's going to be able to pull it off. I want to see everybody in here vote. Like, yes. And you know, and if you know, and if you think no, then okay, it's okay. We're not going to make fun of you or anything. I would like to know why. I actually think she's narcissistic and manipulative enough to think she can control the situation, you know. Yeah, I will answer immediately. Yeah. Oh, yep. Yes, she'll says I'm pretty sure she will. Oh, she takes the stand. Mousy says it too. Juju, she does love the sound of her own voice. She does. And she likes her handwriting too. You know, she likes to write letters. Mhm. She's all that in a bag of peanuts. Yup. In the circus. Nerd. In the circus. She's running her own clown show. You know, she's the flying monkeys and all. Like, I'm telling you. Mm. She's just not like, I kind of feel like I don't even know if she can represent herself. Do you think she would pass like a psych evaluation to be able to be competent enough to defend herself? I mean, she talks a good game. I think she could convince people that she could defend herself. But I also think that she's arrogant enough to lose the case and then appeal because they let her defend herself. And they should have known better. I mean, I can actually see that happening. Like, that's how she twists everything. She'd be the one responsible for why she's defending herself. She would fight to defend herself and then turn it around and use it against everybody when they allow it. Yep. You'll redact. You'll she does like to talk more than him. You know, he didn't take the stand either. Like, you know, and I think he listens to his lawyers a little bit, at least. She's not listening at all. Maybe one of the fans will defend her. Maybe that's why she wants to get out on bail, so she can start recruiting fans. She can get on the social medias on Twitter and Instagram and build a fan base, get a Facebook group going so she can find herself an attorney that'll do whatever she wants, you know? You know, I hate to say it, but maybe we should introduce her to Turtle Boy. Hmm? I don't know. That ought to go well. But that's the caliber of the mess ups I see here. I know that wasn't fair of me. Sorry, guys. Sorry. Really. I'm trying really hard to to be unbiased, but I do think her behavior is absurd and she's not helping herself. And I actually wish she would stop it so somebody could give her the good defense that she needs, you know? And we can have a trial and she can lay out her case like it's fair, because I also feel for the family having to wait this long, okay, and to listen to all this to where she thinks she's got a fan club. Can you imagine what it would be like to be Jorge Torres's family, to hear her say such a thing in open court, that she has fans that will bail her out when she couldn't unzip a zipper to let Jorge out? I mean, my heart breaks for them. Yeah, Juju, I saw you turn. I remember you sticking up for her. Like, and we were all, everyone deserves a fair trial. Like, it's terrible. And I've said that from the start. It's horrible that she's been behind bars this long with no trial. But she's kind of turned me a little bit too. She's making her own problems here. I tell you. And blame another person over and over. Mary's right. Pryor would pick somebody and blame them. Like, who? The mailman. Like, I don't know. The guy they bought the wine from. I have no idea. Like, who are they going to blame? You know? Is the one person Sarah Brown? Oh, you mean like so far I've got 100% of you saying that, okay, there's a lot more of you here than voted, but 100% so far saying that she would take the stand. The Dr. Pepper delivery guy for not showing up early. That's what they're going to blame him. You know, it's his fault. If he had come at 4 a.m. in the morning like usual, the truck driving down the road. He was late to work because she usually hears the truck driving down the road and it wakes her up. She would have then noticed he wasn't in the room and she would have went down there and saved him. So it's obviously all the Dr. Pepper delivery guy's fault for being late to work that day or not showing up. Yes, I see it. I see it all in front of my eyes there, Mousy. And Juju, you're onto something. Yeah. Juju, that was your idea. I'll tell you. For a Friday night, I hear you, Juju. It's getting a little too easy. It's getting a little too easy. And Rocket Couch says, and also that suitcase couldn't have went down the stairs because stairs aren't real. Now we're talking theory. This is it. Like she could build a case on stars, in the moon, in the universe, flat earth, maybe we should put her in touch with Chili. What do you think, Rocket? Like that could be her attorney. He knows about as much about the law as she does. When the cops showed up and she was so thirsty. Yeah, well, she was a bit hungover, I think, and all she wanted was water. Yeah. I'll tell you. Well, anyway, that was my presentation tonight. I'm very happy that the witness list is cleared up for the chief investigator. I mean, that was one of the primary detectives in the investigation. There was two of them during the interrogations, the actual interviews, not interrogations, and also at the crime scene, who went there. Well, yeah. Yup, Mousy, stairs. Stairs, unfortunately, do exist. Yes, really. And you can fall down them or up them. Yep. I fall upstairs. Like I get those bruises between my knee and my ankle all the time. Like, oh yeah. I'll tell you. All right. On that, I think I'm going to end, guys. Thank you so much for allowing an extra stream this week and for showing up for it on a Friday night when I'm sure you got a lot better things to do than talk about Sarah Boone. But she is just the gift that just keeps on giving, right? The defendant, the accused who just cannot get out of her own way. Like, this is like unbelievable. Well, everybody have a good night. I'm going to be uploading another Restaurant at the End of the Universe episode for tomorrow. So that will come up in the videos. And then Sunday, barring anything, real life getting in the way, in Vibe Sunday chat about absolutely nothing. I'll see you all then.